seated in a comfortable, I like upright position. We'll connect to our breath. So remembering our breath, feeling our breath, sensing our breath. This breath is this marvelous link between what's unconscious, what we may not see yet, and what is conscious, what we do know. So breath is this bridge into both worlds. So even though our breath may fluctuate, we still have a connection to our breath by way of choice. So our Ujjayi breath, my interpretation, my use of the technique Ujjayi, is a choice to stay with breath. It's just a choice move, a little frontal lobe, a staying with the breath move. We'll begin with a similar move that we did yesterday. Let's start this set. So I'm just using my finger pads on the jaw area muscles. So I'm somewhere between my earlobe and what would be my molars. I'm just exerting just some finger pads of pressure and kind of pushing, pulling, pressing the skin, and so the fascia, and so some of the muscle under there. I'm just starting to breathe into and sense the ear. So I'm just going to kind of make a semicircle when I'm pulling from earlobe to teeth, and then pulling downward away from my ear hole. And if you encounter any tenderness in the jaw, just find out if there's any amount of that which can be offered a gesture of release. And kind of back as if circling behind the ear. My skin won't really stretch that far, but then release the hand pressure on this side of jaw. This is my right side of jaw. Facing the sky, we'll send the same side hand out. So I'll just talk to the right side. And just furthering any degree of release. Around the temple, the ear, the jaw. And the neck. And I will elevate this arm some degree. So I'm elevating it above the altitude of the shoulder, chest opener. So I'm just increasing the coverage or the kind of the broadness of this sense of stretch into the collar, into the chest. So still breathing into the ear and into the jaw and the temple and feeling for that right side of neck and vocal area to soften. And bringing that hand down. We'll tip the chin centrally. And even though the chin and the head is tipped downward, I'm still lifting or remaining upright through the torso. And breathing into the back of the neck. And then we'll do the other side. So I'm going to tip my head to the right, use some finger pad pressure between the earlobe and the molar. It's just a little bit of pressure and a pulling action. At first away from the ear canal. A little bit downward. And even back and slightly up. And leaving that side of the head, this left side of the ear and jaw, sky exposed. We'll stretch the left. And then just a little higher than the shoulder so we can get into the side or into the chest. When we release, we'll tip the chin downwardly, taking 2-3 breaths into the back of the neck with the chest lifted. When we help the head upright, we'll take about 5 more breaths. You don't have to count them. And this practice is just one of feeling or imagine feeling the ears opening and dilating, as if we're relaxing the tubes of the ears and the ears are opening. Our sound field, our aural field is deepening out to the horizon. So we'll just do this for 5 breaths. So in a way, it's opening up our listening field, our hearing field. And in these final breaths, feel that the head swivels or floats atop the spine. Find out if you can access the softness and the potential for movement under the skull and in the neck. You don't have to move it, but you can feel for that movement potential. For me, I feel for a gliding quality. We'll cross right over left. I'm choosing knee pile. And we're working with the arms in eagle. So inhale, reaching the arms out. And then exhaling the left elbow over the right. Left over right. And you could even engage a feigned yawn. You can do any amount of jaw opening or just gliding movement. And release. Inhale, unwind. This right foot that's on top, stand that sole of right foot to the ground. So we have this set up for a little seated spinal twist. And then either hooking the arm over or hooking the elbow over the thigh. The right hand pressing down. Inhale. Let that right arm push down so shoulder moves away from ear. Again, feeling this ear, this neck uncompacting. And exhaling, getting vertically more spacious as you move. And release. You'll switch sides. So we've got left over right leg cross. I'm choosing knee pile. We'll work with the arms in eagle first. Inhaling, stretching the arms out to side. And then exhaling, going right elbow over left. As the listening field expands, what do you notice in the body and in the muscles and in the tissue and in the perceived sense of freedom in the body? As the listening field expands, relaxes open, how does the rest of the body respond to that or respond with that? So we'll release the arms from there, setting up for a seated spinal twist, sole of left foot planted to the ground, left hand pressing down the ground. And then turning left, moving into the spiral, into the twist on exhale. Right, and so as you're exhaling and twisting, just feel if there was a subtle contraction around the ears, or around one ear. So can you feel the ears opening, the listening field expanding as you move into the twist? Just got a little catch of like a compressive twist somewhere. There we go. I'm using that left hand pushing down to keep moving the shoulder away from the ear and away from the neck. And if I keep that downward trajectory of the arm, I can bring that breath quite deeply into the top dome of the ribs. And release. All right. We'll lie on back and we'll be doing a version of elbow to knee. I'll talk us through, starting with the hands behind the head for support and the knees over the hips. Inhale the head and the shoulder blades off the ground, just engaging that deep front line of the body from the throat and the ears all the way down to the low belly. And shift the tailbone. It's just a lengthening of the spine. Exhale, straighten the left leg up toward the sky. Left hand, palm, push, left thigh. But the back remains on the ground as you sink the low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Exhale, right leg straightens to sky. Right palm presses the right thigh. Press, nudge. sink the low belly down. Inhale, bend the right knee. Now we can pay attention for some details as we're exhaling, shifting the tailbone, reaching the left leg up. Left hand pressures the thigh. And as I nudge the thigh bone toward the sky, getting empty of breath, draw the belly in and keep extending your hearing field, just like your visual field, out, 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 out. Inhale, bend left knee. Curl tailbone, exhale, right leg presses up to the sky, right hand nudges the thigh, nudge. Freedom of movement. Drawing the low belly down. Inhale, bend the right knee. Let's do 4 more per. Might occur. Continue. As you're getting empty of breath, note if you're hearing your listening field, you're hearing your aural field. It's from the room's edge that you're in. Or does your hearing stay expanded? It's the shape of the listening. It's the shape of the field of our sensing. I just get the impression that as we're exhaling, as we're getting empty, as we're committing to that low belly move, that there's actually a subtle kind of, almost like a wincing, like we're squeezing the sensing inwardly. And so I just want to be clear that we can sense deep in the body, we can move the belly, we can engage the body, and the senses can remain open. And today I'm just using the hearing, the oral field, the listening field. Sometimes we use the visual field. And the other detail is you can sense your listening field even if there's not much to listen to. There may or may not be the field, if you want to think of it as a radius or a diameter of your listening field. I want to do one more, which abdominals with a roll or a block. So place between your legs whatever object you don't mind squeezing. And again, squeeze or engage It can involve a contraction, like a muscular contraction, for example, but it may not need to contract our person, our sensing, our guts, our hearing, our vision. So we're going to engage the block and reach in and feel into our periphery, kind of the most distal parts of our body. Inhale into the low belly and the low back, picking up the legs if you have not already. So engage legs into this roll or this block. So engage, maybe a little charge, maybe there is some contraction. Now start to feel your periphery. That means the toes, the skin. As you exhale, the head and the shoulder blade off the ground. Feel the relaxedness of the face. Reach up through the elbows as that's getting us into the hands and again into the distal parts of her body. Draw the low belly down. Inhale, set the head down, relaxing the object squeeze. We'll re-engage, legs on prop. Exhale. Float head, shoulder blades off ground. And feeling to the skin, feeling all the way through the ankles to the feet. Sink the low belly down. Inhale, set the head down. Squeeze object. And exhale. Strongly reach the legs. So strongly is sense. Rich sensing. The shin bones away from the thigh bones. Feeling the toe pads move apart. Pull low belly down. Inhale, set the head down. Let's do 3 more. Let's do these on our own. Let's just go right into it. Squeeze the object. As the belly is moving inwardly, can you still listen or hear? Does the listening field shrink or expand? And that's that. We turn to a side and set up dolphin. Just expect that we'll be reaching one leg up at a time in dolphin. If you like wall support for that, feel free to set up your dolphin feet near a wall. All right. The arms are placed out. I like parallel. And taking a moment, draw the shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling into the upper back. Exhaling the knees off the ground. Take the left foot toes, anchor them around your right heel cord. And now elevate left foot. And as we lift the foot, reaching is that expansion, is that fullness of sensing into our periphery. So rather than merely raising the leg, sense in and through an enlivened leg all the way to the ankle, foot, and toes. In fact, you can even expand your sense beyond the foot. You can start to feel the air, the atmosphere a few inches around the sole of your foot. And this is all without losing track of that deep Ujjayi breath. Good, we'll set that left foot down. We'll switch sides. So right toe, anchor, heel cord. Raise the right leg, reaching it back. So the dog, hands under, and exhaling. He'll stipple. Bend right knee. If you have blocks beside your foot, we'll just shuffle those over. Hands on the inside of right foot. We're working at just a head to ankle prep move. So not too deep of a stretch. I'm just simply placing the hands, catching some of my weight, reaching the elbows toward the ground, relaxing the head and the neck. Just finding an occasion, a way to breathe into the back side of the ribs. Inhale, bring the hands around the right foot. Exhaling, chaturanga. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale the left foot forward, warrior two. And as you reach arms out to the side, just go through these few points where the hearing can expand. You may feel that visibly in the ear structure. You may sense that more broadly as a field of listening, hearing, actual hearing. As you're stretching and reaching the arms out, you may feel that bodily in the shoulder joint, the neck. As you're breathing, you may feel that expansion through the ribs and the lungs. I think it's worth exploring both diminished sensing and withdrawal. To what areas of the body do we reside? And in what areas and layers of the body do we tend to not reside or feel or sense? Triangle. Straightening left. Adjusting the stance. Reach through left hand, left side ribs. We'll set that hand down. Place the hands shoulder width inside left foot. Relax the neck and reach out, but reach the elbows down. Nice inhale, walk the hand. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Now we've got a little bit of action. So as we inhale the right foot forward, we'll be working vertical splits. And if you have access to a wall and you're working on your kicking up, I'm going to have you set up next to your wall so that you can start to do your vertical splits. And while it may feel a little futile initially, is to just begin the kicking into your handstand from vertical splits. So let me just illustrate how it might seem. So if I'm working vertical splits, I set up just like handstand. And either one, I simply put vertical splits, just raising the leg, and that's where I want to go. Or two, I start to use this reach, this outward reach of leg to start to bring me up. In other words, I'm not kicking from the ground up, I'm not using momentum. I'm taking all of the momentum, a lot of the momentum out. This will give us some practice in reaching and picking ourselves up with both legs. So it's vertical splits or it's vertical splits with a little kicking up trial. So I'll talk us all through some vertical splits first. If you have a wall, go for it. If you don't, it's fine. It's just vertical splits. And we'll start with the right foot down, the hands down, and we'll draw the left leg up. Now, if you're using blocks in your vertical splits, you remain with vertical splits. I don't care for you or me to kick up with our hands on blocks. If, however, you place those hands on the ground, you've got that left leg reaching up, you can put a little bend in that right leg, that right knee, but keep the leg all the way up. Keep the left leg all the way up. Keep the left leg all the way up before you kick. That's it. We'll set that left leg down. Step back, downward dog. We can just keep our position if we're near the wall. Inhale, step the left foot forward, vertical splits. So one is raising the right leg. I also find useful that little internal rotation that we'd been working on the last couple of days. A kind of deep inner groin rotating, drawing the legs toward the middle of one's body, also allows us to reach more distally away from our core. That's it. That's it. And then, of course, just touching. Kicking So just keep a little bound quality in that ground leg, a little bounding. And when we step our way down, we'll step back, downward dog. Inhale the right foot forward, head to ankle. So now I will bend deeply right knee. Hands on the inside of right foot. Relaxing through the back of the neck. And at this point, you can start to bring the right arm behind. Inhale, bring the hands around the right foot. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling, upward dog. Exhaling, downward dog. And we step directly into head to ankle, other side. Inhale the left foot forward. Bringing hands to the inside of the left foot. Letting the head relax first, and then deciding how much of that left elbow we nudge behind the left thigh. And release. Inhale, hands around the right, the left leg, the front leg. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Gently set the knees down. We'll have a seat. And when you lie on back, bring the legs skyward so that your sacrum is on the ground, your head is on the ground. And we'll do a fold There's a couple of ways you could do this. One is leaving your sacrum on the ground and only drawing the legs to the torso with that caveat, sacrum and spine remain on the ground. And the other way is to just fold the legs closely to the torso where the low back and the buttock and the sacrum might curl off the ground. Each is wonderful. So I just want you to choose which one is for you. But just that the legs are skyward, kind of above the heart for some moments. And there is a little compression here as the thigh bones are moving in and toward the back of the pelvis. And release for Shavasana. We both feel our breath in a deeply interior way as it expands to fully inhabit and live in our whole body to the periphery, to our environment. Sometimes the learned response of withdrawal draws us energetically and away from our skin. There can be a withdrawal, even contraction around our sensing organs, our sensing fields. And so we just played with how that might feel for us if those fields and those senses could expand. So when you're ready, we'll bend knees. And turn to a side and press up to seated. Namaste.